Hello and welcome to Mickeyology, where we take Disney a little too seriously. I'm Austin Rathall, and today we're examining one of the biggest blockbusters of 2024, Moana 2. In this movie, Moana leads a crew of explorers to find an ancient island and give her people a future. Like the first movie, this one is rooted in the history and cultures of the Pacific. Several of you have also posted specific questions about Moana 2, like where is the island that Moana visits in this movie, and who are the other wayfinders we see at the end, and where do they come from? So let's take a look at the clues and see if we can determine the time and place of Moana's second great adventure. To determine when and where Moana 2 takes place, we first need to know when and where the first movie takes place. I examined this question in detail in this video, so be sure to watch that if you want the full analysis, but here's the basic theory. The Pacific Islands were settled by explorers who began migrating from Southeast Asia beginning thousands of years before Christ. After these wayfinders settled Tonga and Samoa, migration suddenly stopped for a 1,000-year period known as the Long Pause. The Long Pause ended sometime around the 10th century, and wayfinders suddenly began exploring again, settling the rest of the Pacific Islands. Filmmakers wrote the first Moana as a sort of myth to explain why the Long Pause ended. Therefore, the first film takes place sometime during the 10th century AD. Moana lives on Motunui, a fictional island located east of the real island of Niue. We know that's where Motunui is because production designer Ian Gooding created a map placing Motunui there. This map appears in the book The Art of Moana, which features concept art from the movie, but Disney also published it in the book The World of Moana, an official guide to the movie's universe. Determining when Moana 2 takes place is easy. Since Moana 2 takes place only a few years after the first film, it must take place in the 10th century. The tricky part is determining where it takes place. When Moana 2 begins, our hero is still hanging around Motunui. We know where that is, but she doesn't stay there for long. This story is about her quest to find and restore an island called Motu Fetu.
Motu Fetu! The island I have to find is Motu Fetu.
So, to determine where Moana 2 takes place, we have to find Motu Fetu. Moana first learns about Motu Fetu when she finds a shard of pottery carved with a picture of an island beneath a constellation. Later, the ancient explorer Tautaivasa appears to her in a vision and tells her this island is called Motu Fetu, which sits beneath the constellation etched on that shard. This constellation is Cassiopeia. In the book The Art of Moana 2, art director Joyce Lee said the filmmakers chose Cassiopeia because it's a prominent northern hemisphere constellation, one that would require Moana to journey into a whole new sky to find it.
So I will sail to this new sky to reconnect the people of the entire ocean.
So, where is this new sky? Cassiopeia is most visible in the northern hemisphere. It is visible in part of the southern hemisphere too, but it disappears below latitude 25 degrees south. This strongly suggests that Motu Fetu lies somewhere north of Motunui, at a latitude where the night sky would look different than it does from Moana's home. Like Moana's home island of Motunui, Motu Fetu doesn't really exist. It's an imaginary amalgam of several different places. With its columnar jointing, stark peaks, and tunnel, the island physically resembles New Zealand's Pyramid Rock and Ball's Pyramid in Australia. However, Motu Fetu is more than just a rock formation. It's a mythical place that once connected the people of the entire sea. In the book The Art of Moana 2, director Jason Hand said Motu Fetu was partially inspired by stories of Hawaii. In Maori tradition, Hawaii was a mythical island from which life originated. Legend says that the first New Zealanders traveled from Hawaii to settle New Zealand. Many have speculated about whether Hawaii was a real place, and if so, where it is. Some said it was Java, others have said it's in Tahiti, and others that it's in New Zealand. Jason Hand said Motu Fetu was also inspired by Taputapuatea, which is a sacred site located on Raiatea Island in French Polynesia. Since Motu Fetu is connected to all these places, it could be located anywhere from Southeast Asia to New Zealand to French Polynesia. There's one problem with all these candidates, however. None of them are that far north of Motunui. Motunui is about 19 degrees south of the equator, while New Zealand is 41 degrees south. Tahiti is 17 degrees south, so it's a little north of Motunui. Raiatea is 16.8 degrees south, so it's a little to the north, but it's unlikely that Moana would consider these islands, which are relatively close to her own, as being underneath a new sky. Lucky for us, the film gives us some maps that may help us out in our quest. In the movie, Motunui's resident historian, Moni, describes Motufetu as the center point for all the channels of the ocean, and he shows Moana and her parents a painting of the island.
What is it? An ancient island, where the channels of the ocean once came together, connecting the people of the entire sea.
Later, after Moana and her crew reach Motufetu, they find another map carved into its rock, which shows Motufetu at the center of the Pacific Islands. That might make locating Motufetu sound simple. Just find the center point of all the Pacific Islands and boom, you're done. However, it's not that simple. The Moana films take place at the end of the long pause, remember, so not all the Pacific Islands have been settled by this point. That official Disney map places pretty much everything east of Motunui past the edge of nowhere. Since this map was carved by Moana's ancient ancestors, it can only include islands they knew about, so it probably wouldn't include Hawaii, Easter Island, or New Zealand, since those were among the last Pacific islands humans settled. That means Motufetu can't be at the center of all the Pacific Islands as we know them today. Instead, it must be at the center of the Pacific Islands as Moana's ancestors knew them. We get another helpful clue at the end of the movie. Just after Moana and friends find the map on Motufetu, they see a canoe approaching. This type of canoe is called a tepuke, and it comes from the region of Melanesia. Sure enough, the wayfinder who disembarks from this vessel resembles the natives of Melanesian islands, and he wears Melanesian clothing, jewelry, and body paint. Production designer Ian Gooding said artists drew specifically from the Solomon Islands as their inspiration. Soon another canoe arrives. This one appears to be a popo canoe, which come from Micronesia. Gooding said artists specifically drew inspiration from the Micronesian island of Satawal. Then a third canoe arrives. This one appears to be a pahi canoe, which come from the islands of what is now French Polynesia. Gooding said artists drew inspiration specifically from the French Polynesian island of Tahiti. When Moana arrives home, she's accompanied by multiple canoes, each built in one of these three styles. Therefore, Motufetu must be at the center of these three regions. So far, we know Motufetu must be north of Motunui, must be somewhere within the region settled before the end of the long pause, and must be somewhere between Micronesia, Melanesia, and French Polynesia. That puts Motufetu somewhere near the international date line. It can't be too far north either, because the carved map shows Motufetu is surrounded by islands. This wouldn't be possible if it was too far into the northern hemisphere. If you go too far north, you quickly run out of Pacific islands. As it turns out, there is a real place that fits all these criteria. That place is Tuvalu, a country consisting of multiple islands and atolls. Tuvalu's name means 8 standing together, referring to the country's original 8 islands. Motufetu is surrounded by exactly 8 currents, which may be a reference to Tuvalu's name. Among Tuvalu's islands is a small uninhabited island called Motufetau. Though it doesn't look like Motufetu, its name is obviously very similar to that of the island Moana rediscovers. It's also intriguing to see the shape that forms when you add Motufetau to the map. The constellation Cassiopeia, with each island forming a star in the constellation.
Look! The constellation! It's right there!
Based on the movie's geography, maps, cultures, and statements from the filmmakers, I'm placing Moana 2 in or near Motufetau in the nation of Tuvalu in the 10th century. So, there you have it. That is my theory for when and where Disney's Moana 2 takes place. Please let me know in the comments what you think of my conclusions, and when and where you think the movie takes place. Also, let me know which Disney movie you would like me to analyze next. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you would like even more Mickeyology content, you can sign up to become a channel member here on YouTube, or go to patreon.com/Mickeyology, and you can get access to even more videos, including monthly exclusives. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.